So, last offseason, the Rockies traded Nolan Arenado for a bag of peanuts, pretty much. And now, according to an MLB Insider, they will be trading Trevor Story at the 2021 MLB Trade Deadline, as most of us expected. So, we're going to talk about some potential destinations for Trevor Story in a potential trade and looking at some of his potential options in free agency in this video. But before I get into this video, 75% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed, so get your life together. Hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like on this video. Subscribe, turn notifications, and leave a like, and let's go ahead and get into this video talking about a potential Trevor Story trade. So currently, the Rockies are in 5th place in the NL West, 9-14 right now, 5.5 games back already, 6-4 in their last 10, 8-7 at home, and 1-7 on the road. They cannot win a road game, and they are not a good baseball team at all. Now, for Trevor Story, he's not going to get traded in the NL West, and actually, their GM, Jeff Bridich, resigned yesterday, which is great for the Rockies. Best thing to happen to them in 20 years since really the 2000s started, because yes, their front office is very poor as well, but Jeff Bridich was a terrible GM. So they're going to have to trade Trevor Story just as we expected. Trevor Story should be traded. He does not deserve to be in a professional mess like Colorado is. Colorado is an absolute mess. Until that ownership group gets out, they're not probably as bad as the Wilpons, but they're comparable. They are bad. So, looking at some potential destinations, Boston does not need a shortstop. Tampa Bay, unlikely. Toronto, unlikely. Baltimore, unlikely. Yankees, unlikely. I know a lot of people are talking about the Yankees in a potential Trevor Story trade. No, this makes no sense. I made the same case with Max Scherzer about the Yankees. It makes no sense. German Marquez is who you need to be trading for, not Trevor Story. Trevor Story is a player that you will lose in 2022 MLB free agency. They have no room to re-sign him at all. This would be a terrible idea. And I saw one trade proposal like they were going to have to give up Clint Frazier, Debbie Garcia, Clark Schmidt. Like, that was an absolute crazy trade. It was for German Marquez, Trevor Story, and Daniel Bard. That is a simple overpay. People need to get it together. That is a overpay. I don't think the Yankees are a realistic trade partner, and it makes no sense for them to trade for Trevor Story, in my opinion. They don't need more hitting. They need pitching. I don't know what people don't get. Yes, I understand that Gleyber Torres sucks defensively. Same thing with Gary Sanchez. They're both very bad defensively. But it still makes no sense. Where does Gleyber Torres go? Like, you're just not making any sense. I don't think the Yankees should trade for him, but they probably will. Yeah, Minnesota is a potential option. I doubt it. Detroit, no. Cleveland, no. White Sox. I've seen the White Sox name been mentioned a lot, a little bit at least. No. They've got Tim Anderson. Kansas City, no. You look at the AL West, Oakland, Seattle, Houston, Angels, Texas. No teams really make sense, but a couple teams in the AL West do make sense as far as in its free agency, and I would say those are the Rangers and Mariners. Now, the Mariners, I think, are a definitely exciting option. Oh, the Astros do too. The Astros lose out on Carlos Correa. Trevor Story should be a B option there. But I really like the idea of the Mariners. I'm not against the Rangers. I think that the Rangers are a very good option, but I think the Mariners would make a little maybe more sense, considering that they are a good baseball team right now, and if they can prove this for a whole season, they would definitely have a good idea to bring Trevor Story there, because they don't have a lot of money off their books, especially after Mitch Haniger's contract is gone, and they have an exciting future with Julio Rodriguez, Jared Kelenic, and Taylor Trammell, Kyle Seager. You've got a lot of very good players. Ty France, even Evan White. You've got some young pitchers like Logan Gilbert, Emerson Hancock, who they just drafted in 2020. They've got a lot of good players. And Trevor Story himself is only 28 years old. So the Mariners look to be a good option. Now you move to Texas here. The Rangers obviously are a pretty good option here. You have a very good upside for the right side of, or left side of your infield. I meant with Trevor Story and Josh Junk. Most likely Davis Winsdale. He's kind of got no position. Who's in their minor league farm system. Now moving on to Houston, like I said, they're a potential option if Carlos Correa leaves. Now going out to shortstops, NL East, not really a big shortstop need. The Mets don't need a shortstop. They just got Francisco Lindor, obviously. Braves, no. Marlins, though, are an interesting option here. I think that the Marlins would be an exciting option. You go to Miami, big market. They're not going to get big star free agents, but they're in a pretty good position as a team. Great young pitching with Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez, Sixto Sanchez. Washington, no. Philadelphia, I don't think Philadelphia could be a potential option. I don't love that, though. They need to focus on pitching, honestly. Now, moving on to the NL Central, Cubs, no. Reds, you could look at as a potential option. The Reds started off good, but they really have fallen off a cliff since. Cardinals is a team that I look at as a trade destination for Trevor Story. They need to make an all-in move. Nolan Arenado cannot just do all of it. Their pitching is terrible. I would advocate for them to get more of a Max Scherzer starting pitcher type player, even like Herman Marquez. I would very much say that they should, but Trevor Story could be an interesting option for this team. They could get Paul DeJong in return, which if that could happen, then I think that for the Rockies would be a very interesting option. And Trevor Story will not be traded to any team in the NL West, in my opinion. That's just simple. Yes, the Giants might be a good option, but they've got Brandon Crawford, who's on a bad contract, and Trevor Story is just not simply realistic. They're not going to trade him in the NL West. So the best option as far as a trade, looks to be the Cardinals. Like, if you can get Paul DeJong back, then great. I think that's the trade you do. Now, moving on to Trevor Story's stats from the last few seasons, the 2021 so far. 2 home runs, 13 RBIs, and a 274 batting average. In 2020, 11 home runs, 28 RBIs, and a 289 batting average. In 2019, 35 home runs, 85 RBIs, and a 294 batting average. He's had a lot of very good seasons with Colorado, and he deserves to get out of Colorado. Colorado is a bad team, bad running organization. The future is not very bright. I'm just going to keep it real honest. Their future is not bright, and they are one of the biggest messes of an organization there is. And it's going to be tough to fix this team for that new GM. They're going to have one of the hardest roles in baseball to do anything with. And they put themselves into that, honestly. So, yeah, the Rockies are not in a very good position. They're going to most likely trade Trevor Story if the MLB Insider is correct, which, going off what we've seen, he will be correct. Trevor Story will most likely be traded, but will be one of the biggest names at the deadline to be possibly traded. And, yeah, I think those are some potential options in free agency and be a trade for Trevor Story. I think it makes a lot of sense for the Rockies to get whatever back. What trade package would you expect? That is a very interesting question there. Trade package I would expect is less than the Cleveland baseball team got back for Lindor, considering, for one, the Rockies have a poor run owner. He's bad. So they will get less back. And for the simple reason, it's a half-year rental. If you have no confidence in re-signing Story, that you're getting a half-year rental, and you have to know that you can win this year and or at least think that you have a legitimate shot at the World Series this year. And yeah, some of the best teams in baseball already have a very good shortstop, like the Padres, Fernando Tatis, Dodgers, Corey Seager, some other best teams in baseball. The Red Sox with Xander Bogaerts. Let's see, Kansas City. Adalberto Mondesi is not a great shortstop, but he'll do. You look at Oakland, not really. Same thing with Seattle. The Mets have a good shortstop great shortstop in Francisco Lindor. But Milwaukee, not really at all. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe and turn notifications. Because like I said, 75% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed. So get your life together. Hit that subscribe button, turn notifications, and leave a like. Subscribe, turn notifications, and leave a like. Thank you for watching, and peace.